What's up everyone, Lord Ryujin's here bringing you another YouTube video live from my game room here. And I just want to pan around real quick, show you my case of games over there, my case of games over here, PS4, Wii U, all the classic consoles that I have over here, and there's even more over here, Dreamcast, GameCube, Xbox, all that over there. The reason why I'm doing it like this is for a reason, which I'll get to here, because I feel as though it's something that I need to do. I feel as though it's relevant. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put down my phone here. I felt as though it was important to show you the games that I have, so that way when I do this video, it doesn't feel like, oh, you're just saying that, because that's something that everybody seems to be doing. That's not the case. I'm saying this because as a gamer, as someone who grew up with a passion for gaming ever since the NES days, I think it's relevant to say that I do not like the current state of gaming. I'm very concerned with how it's going down, because you have companies. The whole point of this video was that Konami has this rumor flying around that they're no longer going to make AAA games. They're no longer going to make. They're going to focus on Pro Evolution Soccer, their pachinko machines, and probably a mobile game here or there. They're not going to make Metal Gear Solids anymore. They're not going to make Silent Hills anymore. And I don't know how true this may or may not be, because it is just a rumor right now. But the way that Konami has been going lately, I wouldn't be surprised about it at all. And I have to say that I'm upset by this, because Silent Hill is a game that blew my mind. I saw no reason to owning a PlayStation. I wasn't into it at the time. I had my 64 and I was comfortable with it. And then someone showed me Silent Hill on the PlayStation. And I'm like, holy crap, I like this a lot. And that's sort of where my love for the horror genre came from. Is because from there you had games like Dead Space that came out. And you had all these other, these good games, these horror-based games that came out that I really enjoyed. And so and also Metal Gear, another game that I really liked. The first Metal Gear on the PlayStation was pretty good. I enjoyed the Castlevania games. I've kind of gotten out of them in the past, and I've never really been in the Contra. But the fact is that Konami came out with some good games. And I don't like the way that the gaming industry is at this point. I don't like the fact that it either has to be a big AAA, multi-billion-dollar selling game over the course of a weekend. Like, if the game doesn't come out on its opening day and make $14 billion, it's a flop. Or it has to be an indie game that is like dirt cheap to make. And I have to say that I don't like this, because it seems like there's no middle ground. You're either going to get rehash after rehash after rehash, sequel after sequel, yearly releases of games like Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty like we're getting now, or you're going to get indie games that come out that it doesn't matter if it makes only $200,000 because it costs them next to nothing to make. And I don't like the fact that there's no middle ground with that. The fact that we can't get games that can be like Draken the Ancient Gates. Games that can be... I was trying to look over here to find some other ones. But basically games that don't have to necessarily make millions of dollars, but also doesn't have to be a cheap indie game. Because there's nothing wrong with either. I love playing big AAA titles. And I also like the indie games. But at the same time, I want to be able to know, hey, Silent Hill is still around. You're still going to make more games for it. I still like the idea of knowing, hey, you know, I don't know. I mean, I know that the gaming industry has changed a lot since those days when games were cheaper to make, and so if it didn't make that much money, it was okay. But I have to say that I'm just not a fan of this. You know what I mean? Like the fact that we can have a game like Zombie U, for an example, that, oh, it didn't sell well on the Wii U. I guess we just have to give up. No patching it, no coming out with a second game that maybe improves upon the features to get it right. Because after all, Silent Hill 2 certainly did not improve upon the first one in any way. No, they should have just given up after that first one. I mean, that's just how I feel like this gaming industry is. I mean, I talked about this a little bit, I think, in a previous video about how Sony was giving up on the order just because it didn't sell. Okay, you have a new IP that came out. Something that is kind of untested, people aren't quite sure about, and rather than showing people, well, look, graphically it's good, and you know it's got a solid story, and you know this and showing people that you can improve upon it with a second game. Nope, we're just gonna give up on it. Flat out, give up. And I'm like, that's the spirit. Let's not in any way at all try new things or try to improve upon the industry at all. Let's just keep it a stale, Call of Duty, gray, straightforward, run and gun formula. Fantastic. And then people whine and complain because, well, everybody's trying to copy this formula. Well, why wouldn't they? Because when you have a gaming series that's as big as something like Call of Duty is, that you see people that are buying it in troves and making all sorts of money off of it, why wouldn't somebody try to then pick that up? It's what's ruined Resident Evil. Trying to be a more action-based game to try and get the action crowd in, when, as I've already said in previous videos, no one that plays Resident Evil gives two craps about the action. They want it to be a survival horror game. That's what I want from my Resident Evil games. And granted, I haven't played 6, so I can't really judge. I haven't really played a lot of the newer Resident Evils except for Revelations, but that's probably one of the reasons why. Is I've played Resident Evil 2, I've played Revelations, I've played a lot of the more survival horror ones because that's what I want for my games. You know, when I pop in a Silent Hill game, I don't expect a first-person shooter. When I pop in Super Mario Brothers, I don't expect a racing game. You know? Because that's what Mario Kart's for. And to an extent, I get it, but that's the reason why we have an industry that is the way that it is. At least, that's how I feel. You have you have these companies that have, oh, we have to take something like Devil May Cry, and we have to fiddle around with the formula to make it nitty and neat and something that's going to sell 14.8 billion copies. Because we just can't trust that old formula that's worked for us for 4 games. Or we have to take something, and this is okay for a series like Zelda that basically reinvents itself every series or every game. They keep a lot of the same basic true formulas, but Zelda for the most part reinvents itself. It doesn't keep the same setting or the same story. It changes itself quite a bit. I don't know where I'm going with this, guys. I'm upset that you have companies like Konami that are essentially ruining gaming. I mean, because think about that. If that rumor is true, that Konami is no longer going to make AAA games, that means that Metal Gear Solid 5 is the last. The last. There's no room for improvement. There's no, we can come out with a better story. There's none of that. It's gone. And unless somebody swoops in and buys it from Konami, it's essentially the last one. Same thing with Silent Hill. Let that seep in for a moment. That you're not going to get a Silent Hills-like game. That PT was it. That was the last. PT was, that was it. That brief little demo was it. And that Silent Hill goes out on the legacy of the last couple of games that it's come out with. Not out on a bang like it ended with Silent Hill 2 or anything. It kind of goes downhill. And that's all that I'm getting at. I just wanted to rant about this on here. And I don't really know if anybody's listening, you know? It's probably why I'm more of a retro gamer at this point. Why I like going back and playing my PlayStation 2 and picking up a Super Game Boy and playing the classic Game Boy games again, you know? Because that was an era where gaming was good, when ideas thrived. Like, hey, here's this crazy idea that we have. Why don't we put a player underneath our system that allows you to play every single Game Boy game? That's ludicrous. Why would we do that? I don't know, because it seems like it's a good idea. Okay. But by today's standards, no, let's keep it separate, because there's more money to be had in the mobile market. So if we give people the option to play it on their console, well, that's just less money in our pocket, and greed. And look, I know that that's the point of an industry, is that you got to make money. I mean, obviously, you have to make money. Because nobody that I know of goes in the business and goes, I'm going to go flat-ass broke. But at the same time, you got to stay true to your tithes. I mean, you're talking about companies like Konami and Capcom and a lot of these other companies that were built on the backs of gamers. Konami was built off of Mega Man. Capcom, I don't know if I said Capcom. Capcom was built on the back of Mega Man. Konami was built off of Silent Hill, off of Castlevania. Do you think that Konami would be around now if it weren't for Castlevania on the NES? Do you think that Capcom would even be relevant now if it wasn't for games like Mega Man? I don't think so. Oh. I don't know. Gaming is just in a funky place, and I don't necessarily say that I want to see it crash like it did, but something needs to change. Mobile gaming needs to go away. Something needs to change. We need to get people who actually are in charge of games in gaming companies. Because if you get somebody in there, they're a business executive and all they're focused on is seeing money, then yeah, they're going to see, oh, well, this doesn't make nearly as much money, let's drop it. Well, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm saying anymore. My mind's going off on such a wild tangent that I don't even know if I've made any coherent sense with this video. It's just something that I wanted to say and get off my back. Konami, I didn't play a lot of your games, but there were a lot of games that I did play that I really enjoyed. Metal Gear Solid 2 being one of them. Silent Hill 2 being another one. Castlevania I enjoyed back in the day. All kinds of games that I really enjoyed from Konami and Capcom and a lot of the other companies that have gone out of business or are starting to slowly pull away from gaming and focusing more on other aspects. And I just wish that something would change. I mean, I know that we can have both. It's very much possible to have games that exist on a mobile platform or on some kind of portable market. You know, it doesn't have to just be mobile. I mean, look at the 3DS. It's a moneymaker for Nintendo. So you can have a console, and you can have a portable, and you can have a mobile market. All three can exist. That doesn't have to necessarily mean that, oh, well, because Nintendo makes all their money in portables, they should just stop making game consoles altogether. The Wii U's it. There's no potential to go forward. There's no potential for the NX to be a better system. There's nothing. It's just we're going to focus on making portable systems from now on because that's all that we make. That's the only thing we make money off of. And oh, and by the way, all we're going to make is Pokemon games too, because they sell a butt ton, even though we re-release the same ones over and over and over again. That's ridiculous. And it's ludicrous, because rather than learn from your mistake and say, well, hey, maybe this game was just bad because we should have put multiplayer online in there instead of the kind of crappy two-player offline that we did in Zombie U. We should have made it a 4-against-1 survival mode online. Yeah, that would have been better. That could have been in Zombie U too. That's not an option now, not unless Zombie for the Xbox One and the PS4 and PC sell a lot of copies. But then they'll just say that those will be console exclusives because they... whatever. The point is that I don't like the way that games are now. I understand the point of console exclusives because otherwise why own a Nintendo system, right? If you could get your Zelda on a PS4, then why would you even own a Wii, you know, any Nintendo system at all? So in a way, I get it. But in another way, we need to come out with something. Whether it's just everybody makes in-house exclusives again, and everybody buys up every genre. Like, don't worry about it anymore, Konami. We'll make Silent Hill for you. We'll make another Metal Gear Solid for you. And Konami can just go fuck themselves and become a pachinko company. Something needs to change. At least from my point of view. And I'm sorry this has been a long-winded video. I appreciate it if you've watched me rant this whole time. Make sure you leave your comments down below. What do you think about this? What do you think about this rumor that Konami is no longer going to make AAA games? Because it seems like it makes a ton of sense based upon the way they've been going lately. What do you think about just the gaming industry in general? What do you think needs to change, if anything? And, yeah. I'm going to go lay down somewhere and just enjoy the rest of my day. And I hope that you do the same, guys. Thanks for watching, as always. This is Lord Ryujin. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and have a good one.